I have been using the Minimal Moms paper sorting system for a couple of weeks now, and I am ready to give you an update. Well, hello friends, I'm Mary Beth with At What Cost, where simple living and deep faith go hand in hand. And yes, I put the Minimal Moms paper sorting system to the test. And let me tell you, this test passed with flying colors at our house. Let me tell you some of what worked and some of what I think I'm going to do a little differently in the future moving forward. And then we got to talk about how I'm going to tackle that beast over there in the corner in an upcoming video. Okay, so let me show you what I did. It's right here. I'm just going to pull it out. This is where it lives. This is in our office. This has been, there's quite a few things in the to process right now, but that's mostly because both my husband and I have been doing some traveling and school was getting out. It has just been bananas at our house lately. And so I've just been tossing things into the to process. And so it's a little full. It's a little full, but that's okay. Our action items are here in the middle. It does require me to pick this up, but I'll explain a little bit more about why that actually works for us. And our time will tell bin is down here at the bottom, which, well, we'll get to that in just a minute. So this to process bin is totally what is saving this house right now. So if you will remember, which I will refresh your memory, I had paper here, 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 and here, and over here too, and right there. And don't forget all of that. I am happy to report that after putting this system into place, there's no paper laying around here, 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 or even here. Look at this. Can you believe this? Really? All of those places where paper would just go sit, it's not sitting there anymore. And you know what else happened? Because there's no paper just sitting there, those areas in general have stayed a lot more clutter-free because there's not that kind of like pre-existing clutter that makes it easier for us to just put other things down. So I did not believe that this would happen initially, but I am totally sold on this. Having this kind of system not only resolved paper clutter in our home, but it also helped to keep some of the other types of clutter in those same areas where paper was kind of gunking up the works. It's helped to keep those areas a lot cleaner. So this has been a total win-win. The to process bin has been something that both my husband and I have found very easy to use, even though it is not in a place where I typically would lay papers down. I think that's a lot of the advice that we hear is that you want to kind of have a clutter catcher in some of those areas that tend to be landing zones for you. And so you want to capture that stuff right where you naturally would put it and put some type of system in place there. I'm not putting this in my kitchen. I'm just not going to do it. I wanted for us to have to purposefully gather all of that stuff up and bring it into our office where we process those kinds of things. This is where we're going to do bills. This is where I have to print things off for our kids So having this system located in our office has not just helped us to better train where we put the clutter, where we put the paper, it has helped us look at our paper a little differently. You know, when the kids would come in from school, which thank the Lord, they're on summer break right now. That has definitely helped with the influx of paper. It has slowed down a lot, which is great because it's giving me time to catch up on some of these other things. But it's helped me to kind of look at these things differently. But when paper was coming in from all kinds of different places and it's all kinds of different paper, I would just clump it all together in a pile, and then it was just clutter. Gathering it together and putting it in a place that I need to process it has really helped me to look at my paper differently. It's not just a big pile of unknowns. These are things that I actually have to sort through and figure out what I need to do with. And in turn, getting rid of the things that we don't actually need, like the junk mail or the papers that just I know as soon as they come out of my kids' folders, I don't even need to save them for later to process. I know that they need to go. Just changing my mindset, that small amount, has made a huge difference in how we're handling paper in this house. Now, our action items. This has also taken some of a mind shift to kind of have. In the past, we would come up with these like little creative ways to keep track of where the bills that we actually had to pay were. So sometimes they'd be near the back door, kind of tucked into the back where the phone chargers are, or my husband would put them on the refrigerator with a magnet, and we would be looking in these kinds of different places. And although we have regular routines around paying bills, it was sort of like this involuntary scavenger hunt to find where that particular bill went. Now, the other thing that has helped us a tremendous amount with paper, just in general, even before we implemented this system, was going paperless with so many things. That helped a lot. But the action items, this is someplace where we have really had to make a conscious effort to regularly sit down, go through this portion of the bin, and then actually take the actions. Because it's one thing to get them processed and put them in the action items. Like, they can't go in here to die. We actually have to take the action. And so that has been another area where mindset and just scheduling regular reminders for ourselves has been crucial. Now, the time will tell bin, I was worried about this. I'll admit, I was worried about this. I was kind of afraid that I would just stuff this full of things, not because I wasn't sure whether or not I would need them, but more so because I didn't want to deal with them. So I had to really kind of come to grips with this. And a lot of the comments in that last video really helped with this. I love the engagement that we had around paper systems and what you all use, and just reminding me that the time will tell bin is not going to derail anything. Like, none of the things that are in this bin actually have some action required or a deadline. So right now, I probably could get rid of a few of the things in here. I have not come up with a regular schedule to go through some of those things, but I also have not put nearly as much in there as I thought that I would. The things that are in there now are like compassion, international letters that we've gotten from the child that we sponsor. There's an agenda from our women's ministry team meeting. So there's just things in there that I'm not quite sure if I want to hang on to, or I'm just kind of keeping them there because they'll be replaced by something else, and I don't necessarily want to give them a spot in the filing cabinet yet. But overall, the time will tell bin has really been helpful. And I initially was worried that it does not have the cutouts here that Dawn's had, but it doesn't matter because this bin had handles. And if we don't just pick this up and take that to the little work table that I have behind me here that our kids use for art, we'll take it to the kitchen table and then just unstack each of these, lay them out, and sort through them. And it's actually been kind of a nice thing to be able to do. It's been a moment where my husband and I can come together and have some conversations about some of the things that are in here. And so overall, this system the actual system, like the bins, the way that it functions, the whole 9 yards, has been wonderful for us. It has been a total game changer. But it's not all sunshine and roses, and it's important that I share those things too. So as much as I love the 2 process bin because it has caught a lot of the paper clutter, it still gets kind of full. And like right now, I don't want to put it too close because like this is where our personal stuff is too. But like school pictures, what else is in here? Oh, our son's graduation diploma. Oh, wedding response that I need to respond to today. Another letter from Compassion International that I need to open. Some artwork that my son drew. There are some things in here that I probably, like as I was flipping through the mail, I probably could have just gone ahead and either dealt with or put in the action items straight away. And I just didn't. I just tossed them in here. So the downside to this is that without regular maintenance, this is going to get out of control too. And the same thing with the action items, like we've already talked about. I have to actually take action on these items. I can't just throw them in here and then like there's no magic bill fairy showing up to take care of any of this for me. So I do have to really be intentional at scheduling time and just making sure that these things get done. But overall, I would say that this system is an absolute total win. I have been so happy with the results, and it has been a phenomenal change just in the rest of our house. It's kind of like this concept, maybe you have heard of this concept called mood momentum. So we use this a lot in our home just in general because especially with our kids and some of their special needs and just their background, they need for Brian and I, my husband Brian and I, to have a happy, upbeat tone. It's not fake. It's not manufactured, not all of the time. Sometimes I'm like happy and I know it. Sometimes I'm happy and I know that I'm not actually happy, but I need to get the mood momentum going. But having that kind of more happy, upbeat kind of mood tends to be contagious. And it just pushes all of the things in a more positive direction. And the same thing is happening, I think, with the paper in our home. It's just acting as this kind of momentum for all of the other clutter for me to just deal with things because there's not paper laying out on the counter. I want the countertops to be clean. They already feel cleaner because the paper's not there. I surely can go hang that hat up in the coat closet. I absolutely can hang my purse up on a hook. The things that I typically would be leaving out, it has been a lot more motivating for me to put away because there's not all of this like weird undertone of clutter just happening everywhere. And I think that's what paper had become for us. So definitely some positives there. Now, one of you mentioned how great it would be if Dawn could actually come and help me with this stinking filing cabinet. Look at this thing. Oh, wrong direction. Look at this thing. It's huge. It's huge. And it's full. It's totally full of stuff. Some of it's paper, some of it's not. And yes, while I would 1000% love for my dear friend Dawn to come to my house and declutter my filing cabinet, we're going to do it virtually. Maybe not right now. I don't think I can do it right now, but at some point this summer, we're going to declutter this virtually because I already talked to her about it. She's got some really good ideas. So it's going to happen in the near future, but not right now. And that's okay. It's just a little like teaser cliffhanger for you. In the last video, I got some terrific comments about how you guys actually file and use those kinds of long-term storage solutions. So As far as what we do once it's totally decluttered, I will 100% be featuring some of those because they were fantastic ideas. But until then, I want to encourage you to keep decluttering in your home, to keep putting your faith first, and not let these silly little things like clutter keep us from developing a deep relationship with the Lord. Thank you so much for watching today, and until I see you again, keep fighting the good fight.